The idea that because you excelled in a system means that you should go on to own the system or have some power in the system is very inane to me and is actually very annoying. And I think this really started my annoyance when people kept saying, be your own boss, be your own boss. And that trend took place. There's nothing wrong with being a boss. There's nothing wrong with being a boss inherently being an owner of a company, right? There's a lot of owner of the company. My dad is the owner of a company, right? There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is just because you are a worker does not mean you know how to lead people. Because in your position, you were a cogwheel, a small cogwheel that made the entire machine work. Now you are the machine. You are the person that's trying to make the machine work. It's a very big difference in power. It's a very big difference of responsibility. Not everybody has the responsibility, has the wherewithal, has the ability to even take care of people or have the responsibility of making sure another person is handling their business outside of themselves. So to be an owner and have to depend on people to do their jobs and train them properly is insane to me. You can't do that. Or because a basketball player excelled in their basketball career, they should be able to be a GM or they should be able to be a commissioner of the NBA. That's a name. The NBA player job was to play basketball. His job was not to handle contracts. His job was not to handle sponsorships. He might have been handling sponsorships, but he had agents for that. He had his job was not to handle this stuff. So to now say that, oh, because you were a worker in this league, you should now be an owner or the head leader of it. No, no. Employee and employer handle two different roles. I think the jump from players is to be a coach. The jump from being like a worker is to be a manager. Meaning like you handle some people. You understand the day-to-day operations, so you're left in charge to handle that in that specific location. You don't become the owner of the store because then you have to oversee everything. So yeah, a player might go from a player to a coach. And even that jump is difficult. Any example of a player going from being a player to an owner, whether it's the owner of a team or basically the owner of a team, has gone wrong. AKA Michael Jordan with the Hornets. Michael Jordan with the Hornets. I don't want to say doomed that the entire team, but he did not produce anything good as an owner. He picked terribly. He made terrible leadership decisions. His partnership garbage. And yes, I understand he inherited a newly found team. But with this being said, you don't get the first round picks and drafts busts continuously. Because I also understand you're not always going to draft well. But to have the ownership and be one of the head decision makers for a team for I think about 8 years and continuously over the course of 8 years draft terribly is a problem. But that proves my point that just because you excel at a system doesn't mean that you should be able to own the system. Because Michael Jordan is regarded as one of the best basketball players, if not the best basketball player to ever pick up a basketball. Period. He's one of the best ever, undeniable. And he made terrible business decisions within the league as an owner, which further proves my point. His his point of access and where he developed and where he really shone was when he was a small cog that made the entire machine move. Well, he was a big cog, but that made the entire machine move. When it came time for him to be the owner and decide which cogs make the machine move, he failed at it. He did very terrible at it. That just shows not everybody is meant to be an employer. It's cool. He could be the employee. There's nothing wrong with that. He's Michael Jordan, for God's sake. He don't have to be a great GM. He's Michael Jordan. But then again, when you try that out and you start to become an employer, and you start to employ people, this is what happens. This is a very reasonable development that happens where it doesn't work out and he has to sell his ownership of the team. Another portion to this is the thing that made you great or the thing that's great about you, for the most part, sometimes is not transferable. There's certain things that he cannot explain well or cannot explain as others because it's second nature to him. What makes him great? His ability, his jumping ability, his mentality, the way that that stuff, you can teach some of it. But some of that stuff is intrinsic. You can't teach it. So Michael Jordan can't teach somebody how to jump 40 inches or whatever the hell they say this verse is. He can't teach somebody that. But he could teach somebody how to lay up. He could teach somebody how to land. He could teach somebody how to shoot. He could teach that. But he can't teach somebody how he sees the game naturally. He could teach you what he learned and how he can apply it to you. But how he sees it just from a natural standpoint, he can't teach that because it's intrinsic to him. He can't verbalize it necessarily. Better yet, an artist. An artist can't go from the main person behind the mic making the songs to then being a label owner. Because at least while they're still active as artists, because that the person artist that they sign will never shine above whatever they have going on. Because the artist, despite being a record label owner, will always prioritize their career over the others. Look at Drake and Party Next Door. Party Next Door is an amazing artist that's signed under Drake. Party Next Door has never in life been bigger than Drake. Then if you look, for example, with The Weeknd and Drake. Drake wanted to sign The Weeknd. The Weeknd said, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing." And The Weeknd is miles bigger than Drake. Miles bigger. It doesn't matter what plaques you go through, songs. He's bigger. That's just how it is. The employee is not automatically qualified to be an employer because he's been an employee. No, there's more things that come with it. There's a business sense that comes with it. And some of it is intrinsic that cannot be taught. You don't have to go and force your way to becoming an employer. You don't have to. If you feel like you have the capable traits and you can lead and you have the business sense to take care and handle business, cool. Go ahead and try it. It's better in theory that I have leadership capabilities. I have the capital to put it up. Test it out, right? If you fail, you fail. If you succeed, take all the failures that you've had in your past and that you're going to come across and use that as lessons to keep prospering. Same thing if you fail. But not everybody is qualified for this. Not everybody can. Because if everybody's an owner, who's going to work? So the whole idea of everybody being their own boss is stupid. Let's cut it out. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong with going to work a job. Regardless of what it is, whether you deem it as work or not, there's nothing wrong with that. Whether that's being a film director or going to work at an oil rig, it's still a job. You are still an employee to somebody. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. You are still being paid. You are still being able to live an honest living. You are still, some professions get paid more than business owners. Like the CFO of Google makes more money than 90 to 95% of business owners. And she's an employee.